This story begins in a small village called Ogboko, deep in the heart of Imo State, Nigeria. It's a quiet village surrounded by tall trees, dusty roads, and simple people with strong hearts. And in that village lived a woman called Mama Ifeoma. Mama Ifeoma, how do I even begin to tell you about this woman? She had seen it all. Life had beaten her, torn her, broken her, but somehow she never stopped giving. She was a widow. Her husband, Ifeanyi, died over 17 years ago after falling sick and never recovering. And since then, she had raised their only son, Chike, all by herself. But life wasn't kind to her. Chike breathes deeply. He passed away in a car accident when he was just 21. He was coming back from the city to surprise her with a new phone. He never made it home. That day broke her heart into pieces. But still, Mama Ifeoma kept going. She sold vegetables at the local market. She didn't earn much, but every kobo she saved, she kept in a little iron box under her bed. That was her life savings. Not for luxury, not for a vacation, just in case of sickness or old age. But then, one afternoon that changed everything. Mama Ifeoma was walking back from the market with her bag of bitter leaf and pepper when she saw something by the roadside. A boy, maybe 12 or 13, lying on the ground, shivering. He was wearing torn clothes, no shoes, and his lips were dry. He looked like he hadn't eaten in days. People passed by him like he was invisible. Some whispered, "Yoruba boy," or "He's a thief." But Mama Ifeoma, she stopped. She stood there for a moment, breathing heavily, her heart beating fast. She bent down, touched his forehead. It was hot, too hot. "Hey, my child," she whispered. "Are you okay?" The boy opened his mouth to speak, but only a dry breath came out. Mama Ifeoma looked around. No one cared. No one stopped, her eyes filled with tears. She dragged him up with her little strength, held him with one hand, her bag in the other, and slowly carried him to her house. That boy, his name was Musa. He was from the north. His parents had died during a tribal clash in Kaduna, and he had wandered from place to place, surviving on scraps and luck. He had no one, nothing. For the next few days, Mama Ifeoma gave him water, food, shelter, everything. She even sold her goat, her last goat, to buy medicine for him when he had a high fever. But here's the part that will break your heart. One day, while checking her iron box, Mama Ifeoma sat on the floor, her hands shaking. She opened it slowly, counted the money, then closed it, then opened it again. Breathe in, breathe out. And then she did the unthinkable. She took every last note, every single kobo, and gave it to Musa. With shaking hands, she told him, "My son, take this, go to the city, find a school, learn something, make a life. You don't owe me anything. Just don't waste it." Musa didn't understand at first. He fell on his knees crying, holding her legs. "Mama, please, I can't take your money. What will you eat?" But Mama Ifeoma smiled, that same tired but powerful smile. "I've already eaten, my son. I've eaten love, and love, it feeds better than food." He left that week, and just like that, silence returned to her little hut. Years passed. People forgot. Life moved on, but fate did not forget. And what happened many years later shocked the whole village. The years rolled by slowly like a tired cart on a muddy road. Mama Ifeoma, now older and weaker, still sat under her mango tree every evening. She would chew kola nut, sip warm water from her gourd, and watch the road as if waiting for someone to appear from the horizon. But nobody ever came. The village had changed. Children who once ran around barefoot were now young men. Girls had become mothers. The market grew busier. Phones became common. But Mama Ifeoma's life stayed the same. Simple, quiet, and lonely. Many didn't understand her. They called her foolish. Who gives away their life savings to a stranger? She's not even related to the boy. Ah, that boy must have used jazz. He bewitched her. She would smile faintly whenever she heard them talk. But deep down, there were days she questioned herself too. Days her belly ached from hunger. Nights the roof leaked cold water on her bed. Days her legs trembled from weakness, and there was nothing to eat, nothing to sell. But even then, she never regretted her decision. "If I die tomorrow," she would whisper to herself, "at least one soul will remember that once. Someone saw him and cared." Then came the day that almost ended everything. It was the dry season. Harmattan had turned the air dusty and sharp. The leaves were brown, and the ground cracked like broken glass. Mama Ifeoma was sweeping outside her hut when she felt a sharp pain in her chest. "Ah! Ah!" she gasped, dropping her broom. She clutched her chest and stepped, her vision blurred. The sound of the wind faded. Her knees gave way, and she fell hard onto the ground. Neighbors rushed out. Children screamed. "Call the health worker!" Someone shouted. "She's not breathing well." The village health post was poorly equipped. The nurse, a young girl fresh out of training, the Lisak, did what she could. But it was clear, Mama Ifeoma needed more than herbs and aspirin. She needed to be taken to the city hospital. Transport to Owerri costs 35,000 naira, the nurse said, wiping sweat from her face. And treatment there is not free. People looked away. No one had that kind of money just lying around. "She doesn't have children," someone mumbled. "Didn't she give all her money to a boy?" Another scoffed. "Let the boy come and help her now." But the boy was gone, disappeared into the world. No one had heard from him in over 10 years. 2 days passed. Mama Ifeoma lay weak and barely conscious, drifting in and out of sleep. Her breath was shallow. Her eyes stared at the cracked ceiling above her. She thought it was the end. She whispered a prayer. "God, if this is the time, let me go in peace. I gave all I had, and I don't regret it." Then, on the third morning, a strange car pulled into the village. It was a black SUV with tinted windows. Shiny. Big. Not the type that belonged in dusty villages like Ogboko. People came out, eyes wide. "Who is that? Is it the governor? No. Maybe a rich pastor." The car door opened slowly, and out stepped a tall, confident man in a clean white shirt and polished shoes. His beard was trimmed. His skin glowed. He looked around, confused for a moment, then locked eyes with an old man sitting on a stool. "Excuse me," he said, in a soft but deep voice. "Please, does Mama Ifeoma still live here?" The man dropped his chewing stick. "En? Wait, your face. You look like someone." The stranger smiled. "Musa," he said. People gasped. Some put their hands on their heads. "Musa? The boy from the north? The one she gave everything to?" "Blood of Jesus." Musa didn't wait for their questions. He rushed straight to her hut. His heart was pounding. His eyes were wet before he even reached the door. Inside, he found her, barely breathing, that her thin body wrapped in a faded wrapper lying on a bamboo mat. He fell to his knees beside her, shaking. "Mama, Mama, it's me," he whispered. "It's Musa. I came back. I'm sorry it took so long. I'm so sorry." Her eyes moved, slowly, weakly. She tried to speak but couldn't. He held her hand. "You saved me. Now it's my turn. I won't let anything happen to you." Before anyone could blink, his driver came in, gently lifted her, and carried her to the SUV. Musa turned to the villagers, that his face serious. "Tell me who said she was foolish?" he said calmly. No one answered. And with that, the engine roared, the dust rose, and the car drove off toward the city, toward a miracle that would shake the whole village to its core. The drive to Owerri was quiet, heavy with emotion. Musa sat in the back seat, holding Mama Ifeoma's frail hand in both of his. Every bump on the road made him flinch. Every cough she let out, every weak breath, he felt it in his chest like a stab. He kept whispering, "Stay with me, Mama. Please, just a little longer. You're not leaving me again. Not like this." His driver, Ibrahim, stole glances from the rearview mirror. He'd never seen Musa like this. Normally composed, always calm, but now he was a broken man trying to hold himself together. They got to the hospital just after noon. A private hospital, clean walls, glass doors, cool air, the kind of place Mama Ifeoma had never seen in her entire life. Nurses rushed out the moment the car pulled up. Musa had called ahead. "Emergency! Elderly woman. Difficulty breathing, chest pain," he told them, lifting her gently from the car. Doctors and nurses surrounded her. Machines beeped. Oxygen mask. Drip. Blood test. Scan. More machines. Musa paced the hallway like a madman. Back and forth. Hands on his head. Tears in his eyes. Every second felt like a year. An hour passed. Then 2. Finally, the doctor walked out, pulling down his surgical mask. "She's stable now," he said calmly, "but very weak. Her body has been through a lot. Malnutrition, untreated blood pressure, fatigue." Musa nodded, wiping his face. "Money is not a problem. Do whatever she needs." The doctor tilted his head, curious. "Is she your mother?" Musa paused, looked up, smiled a little. "She's more than that." They moved Mama Ifeoma to a private room with white curtains, soft sheets, and soft music playing from a speaker above, the kind of peace she hadn't in years. The next few days were slow and painful. She drifted in and out of sleep, sometimes calling her late husband's name, sometimes mumbling prayers. But each time she opened her eyes and saw Musa sitting by her side, she would smile a little, like her soul recognized him even if her body didn't. On the fifth day, her voice returned, dry and low. You came back, she whispered, barely moving her lips. Musa stood up from the chair, leaned close, tears instantly welling in his eyes. I'm here, Mama. I never forgot you. I've searched for you for years. She smiled faintly, her fingers brushing against his. You look different. He chuckled softly, crying at the same time. You made me different. And then, after a long pause, she asked the question that tore through his heart. Did you eat well? He nodded, lips trembling. Yes, Mama, I ate well, because of you. He stayed with her day and night, canceled all his meetings, slept on a small couch in her room. He bathed her feet, he fed her soup, he played her old Igbo hymns from his phone. He called her Mama like he had been born from her own womb. And every day, she got a little stronger. When she could finally sit up on her own, he brought her a small mirror. She looked at her face, her thin cheeks, her gray hair, and shook her head. Ah, see this old woman, Musa laughed, still the most beautiful face in the world. That evening, he sat on the edge of her bed and told her everything. How he had used her money to take a bus to Abuja, how he slept under a bridge for 2 weeks, how a kind man noticed him reading an old book near a petrol station and offered him a job at a bookshop, how he worked there, saved, studied at night, got a scholarship to study computer science, how he built a software company with just a laptop and a dream, and how now he had offices in 3 cities, over 100 employees, and a foundation for orphans just like he once was. Mama Ifeoma just stared at him the whole time. Her lips parted in wonder. You're a big man now, she whispered. He held her hand tighter. I'm your son. That's what I'll always be. Weeks later, when she was strong enough to leave the hospital, he didn't take her back to her hut in Ogboko. No, he took her to a new bungalow on the edge of Owerri. White walls, tiled floors, clean water, a mango tree planted in the front yard, just like home. When they arrived, she froze in front of the house. Musa, whose house is this? He smiled, eyes shining. Yours. She looked at him, trembling. Mine? He nodded. For every tear you cried, for every naira you gave, for every time you went hungry to feed me. This is just the beginning, Mama. And right there in the doorway of her new home, she broke down in tears, held him close, and sobbed like a child. Because for the first time in years, she was safe, loved, seen. But the story doesn't end there. Something was about to happen in the village of Ogboko, something that would change not just Mama Ifeoma's life, but the lives of every woman, every child, every forgotten soul in that village. The village of Ogboko had never seen anything like it. It started with a single phone call, a man's voice, calm, clear. Good afternoon, sir. This is Musa Ibrahim. I'm calling on behalf of the Ifeoma Foundation. We'll be visiting Ogboko in 1 week. The town chief, Pa Nadozi, held the phone to his ear, confused. Sorry, which foundation did you say? Ifeoma Foundation, sir, Musa replied, named after the woman who once saved a boy's life with her last coin. That was all he said, but that one sentence spread through the village like wildfire. Did you hear? They're coming from the city. They're bringing trucks. They said they're building something. Is it true that boy is now a millionaire? I thought he died. Oh, no, he came in a big black car and carried Mama Ifeoma to the hospital. On, God is great. Within days, the dusty roads were swept clean. The elders held emergency meetings. Women washed their wrappers and scrubbed their pots. Children ran around screaming, Mama Ifeoma is rich! Mama Ifeoma is rich! But she wasn't rich. Not in the way they meant. She still wore the same slippers, still walked slowly, still carried a raffia fan in her bag. But this time, she walked with Musa by her side, and wherever they went, people bowed their heads in respect. Some cried, some begged for forgiveness for the things they had once said. And Mama Ifeoma? She smiled and said only one thing. I did what love told me to do. If love made me a fool, then I'm happy to be foolish. On the 7th morning, the trucks came. Big ones. Some carried bags of cement. Others brought water tanks, bricks, roofing sheets, generators, and rolls of cable. Engineers stepped down in boots. Architects held blueprints. Young volunteers in green shirts began setting up tents. They wore badges that said, Ifeoma Foundation, we rise by lifting others. The whole village stood in awe as a banner was raised between 2 palm trees. Project 1, Ifeoma Primary Health Center, a free medical center, with electricity, water, a pharmacy, delivery room, vaccination zone, and a trained nurse from the city who would live in the village. For a moment, no one moved. Then a woman screamed out, Chineke-mo! Chineke-mo! This is real. People danced, drums came out, flutes played, someone killed a chicken in excitement. But Musa wasn't done. The next truck arrived. It carried desks, books, blackboards, and school bags. The next banner read, Project 2, Ifeoma School for Orphans. A tuition-free school for children who had lost parents, just like Musa once had. A place for the forgotten to be remembered. For the poor to be educated. For the future to be rewritten. By the time the sun set that day, women were crying. Old men were kneeling and praying. The village had never seen transformation like this, not even when politicians came during elections. Reporters showed up from the state radio. They tried to interview Musa, asked him what pushed him to do all this. He simply looked at the camera and said, A woman once saw me dying on the road. She didn't ask where I came from. She didn't care if I was hers. She gave me everything she had. Today, I'm just returning what she planted. When the reporter asked if he had any message for the youth, he said, We think we need millions to make a difference, but sometimes all it takes is one act of kindness. That night, Mama Ifeoma sat on a plastic chair outside her new home. The stars above her sparkled brighter than ever. A cool breeze passed, and beside her Musa knelt, resting his head gently on her lap. She stroked his hair slowly, gently, as if soothing a memory from the past. Musa, she whispered. Yes, Mama? You have made me proud. You are my son. And you are my mother, he replied, voice thick with emotion. They sat like that in silence, two souls bound not by blood, but by love. But the story wasn't over, because just when everything seemed perfect, peaceful, news came that would test their bond, shake the village, and remind everyone that every blessing comes with its own battle. The village woke up to sirens, loud, urgent, strange, the kind of sound that didn't belong in a place like Ogboko. Musa was already at the construction site, checking on the foundation for the new health center when his phone rang. He picked up. Sir, you need to come back immediately, his driver said, panic in his voice. It's Mama Ifeoma. Something is wrong. Musa's heart dropped. I'm on my way. He didn't wait for the car. He ran, feet pounding the dusty road. Breath short. Shirt soaked in sweat. Every step felt like a knife digging into his chest. The villagers watched him race past, confusion and fear in their eyes. When he burst into the house, he found Mama Ifeoma lying on the couch, not moving, her eyes closed. The nurse from the city, who had come to assist with the foundation's medical arm, was already there checking her pulse. A small crowd had gathered around the doorway. Nobody said a word. Musa dropped to his knees beside her, gasping, Mama, Mama, please, wake up. It's me, Musa, your son. Mama, please, please. The nurse placed a hand on his shoulder. Her heartbeat is faint. We have to move fast. In minutes, they were back in the SUV, sirens wailing again, cutting through the village roads like thunder. In the hospital, everything became a blur. White walls, running feet, machines, injections, whispers. Musa sat outside her room with his hands clasped so tightly his knuckles turned white. He didn't pray with fancy words. He just kept saying over and over again, please don't take her. Please don't take her. Please don't take her. Hours passed. Finally, the doctor walked out. Musa stood. Tell me. The doctor gave a small smile. She's awake. Very weak, but awake. Her heart is tired, but it's still beating. Musa broke. He turned away and wept like a boy, his shoulders shaking, tears flowing freely. He didn't care who was watching. That was his mother in there, his entire world. When he walked back into her room, her eyes were open. Musa, she said, barely a whisper. I'm here, Mama. I'm here. She reached for his hand and squeezed it, weak but certain. Musa, I've seen enough. I'm ready. He shook his head quickly, choking back emotion. Don't say that. She smiled gently. I'm old. My bones are tired, but listen to me. He leaned closer. You are not just my answered prayer. You are my legacy. You are proof that love is never wasted. Tears ran down his cheeks. He nodded, unable to speak. I'm proud of you, she whispered, and then she added something that would stay with him forever. When I gave you my savings, people thought I lost everything, but I was investing in something greater, in you. She squeezed his hand one last time, then drifted off into sleep, peaceful, calm, breathing slow, steady, soft. She lived a few more months, long enough to see the health center opened, to cut the ribbon at the orphan school, to watch little children call her grandma, long enough to sit on a plastic chair in the middle of the village and smile while people brought her fruits, gifts, and praise. And then one quiet morning, with the smell of roasted yam in the air and a hymn playing softly from her radio, Mama Ifeoma closed her eyes and didn't open them again. The village wept. Musa buried her under the mango tree she once sat beneath every evening, the same place she had given him her last naira many years ago. He built a small memorial stone that read, "Here lies Mama Ifeoma, mother of a nation, giver of hope." Thousands came for her burial. Even the governor sent a message. Tributes poured in from around the world. Stories were written. A documentary was made. But none of that mattered to Musa as much as one simple truth. She had saved his life when he had nothing. And in the end, he had saved hers. Not just with money, but with love, with dignity, with honor. Because real wealth is not what you keep, it's what you give. So if you ever walk through Ugboko and you see a little school buzzing with laughter, or a clinic with a long line of patients, or a child reading from a book titled The Boy Who Became a Son, know this. It all started with a widow, a coin, and a heart full of love. If this story moved you, don't forget to like, share, and subscribe. Leave a comment to let us know how it touched you. And remember, sometimes the smallest act of kindness can change a life forever. Thank you for watching.